Hello and welcome back. In this Black Excellist presentation, we will highlight Shani Davis, the African American Olympic speed skater.
Welcome to blackexellist.com, the site where we share Black excellence, opulence, and affluence. Our mission is to inspire you as we enlighten you.
Shani Davis is one of the greatest long-track speed skaters in history, a man who dominated the sport for a decade, set world records, won 4 Olympic medals, and became the all-time World Cup points leader. In fact, Shani Davis was the first Black athlete of any nation to win an individual Winter Olympics gold medal. As an African American and Chicagoan, he always felt that he had to work 10 times harder to prove himself in a sport where he had to endure the label of being the only one. His lasting legacy will be breaking down imposing barriers to become one of the best ever in his sport, all while refusing to conform to public image expectations. Davis is a complex man, reminding us that athletes don't have to come in perfectly wrapped packages to root for them. In this original Black Excellist video, we will be featuring Shani Davis, speed skating gold medalist and record breaker. So without further ado, let's get started. 1. Shani Davis was born on August 13, 1982 in Chicago. Shani Davis was born to Reginald Shuck and Sherry Davis. His father selected the name Shani, meaning to adventure, from an African name dictionary. Shani learned to roller skate at the early age of 2 years old. A year later, he liked the sensation of speed so much that he had to be slowed by the rink's skate guards. He switched to ice skating at age 6, a few months before his mother enrolled him in a local speed skating club. Sherry was the secretary for a local lawyer, who was also a speed skating official. The lawyer's son was an elite-level speed skater and suggested that Sherry enroll Shani at the Robert Crown Center in nearby Evanston. Sherry was determined to help her son reach his maximum potential in skating. She would wake Shani up in the morning to run a mile on a nearby track to build up his endurance. In order to be closer to his skating club, she and Davis moved from the neighborhood of Hyde Park to Rogers Park. 2. Davis dominated the junior competitions and qualified for the 2002 Winter Games. At the age of 16, Davis was invited to Lake Placid, New York to participate in a development program for young speed skaters. After training there for a year, Davis decided to pursue his Olympic dreams and moved to Marquette, Michigan to further his training. There he would graduate from Marquette Senior High School, where he ran track his senior year. Davis earned spots on both the long track and short track teams at the 1999 Junior World Championship, simultaneously making the national team. In 2000, he made history by becoming the first U.S. skater to make the long and short track teams at the Junior World Teams, a feat he would accomplish again in 2001 and 2002. His height has always made him unique among short trackers, who are much shorter. The extra height made it easier for Davis to race low to the ice. He competed at the World Junior Championship in 2000 and 2002, winning the 1500-meter race in 2002. In the same year, he became the first Black speed skater to earn a spot on the U.S. Olympic team that was held in Salt Lake City, Utah in 2002. 3. Davis became the first Black athlete to win gold at the Winter Olympic Games. Davis made the jump from junior competition to men's speed skating in 2003. In February of that year, he earned the title of North American Long Track Champion, which qualified him for the World Championship in Sweden. In January 2004, Davis became a North American champion for the second consecutive year. He finished in second place overall in the 2004 World All-Round Long Track Championships in Norway. In March, Davis won the 1500 meter at the Men's World Single Distance Championships in Seoul. Davis set 3 world records in 2005, 2 of them in Salt Lake City. At the World Championship qualifier on January 9, 2005, he broke the 1500 meter world record. He also set the world record for the best overall time in the history of the qualifiers. A month later, Davis would win the world champion all rounds. In November, Davis would break another world record at the third World Cup match in the fall of 2005. On February 18, 2006, Davis skated into Olympic history when he became the first Black athlete from any nation to win an individual gold medal at a Winter Games. He skated a 26:60 second final lap that helped him win the men's 1,000-meter long track final at the Winter Olympics held in Turin, Italy. Davis would compete in a total of 3 events. 3 days later, he captured an impressive silver medal in the 1,500 meters. In his third and final event, he placed 7th place in the 5,000 meter. 4. Davis became the first athlete to retain his title at the Winter Games. Davis's success continued at the 2006 World Speed Skating Championships, where he won a second all-around title, posting a world record overall score. He also broke the world record for the 1,500 meters, adding that to the 1,000-meter record he set in the previous year, November 2005. In 2009, Davis won the World Speed Skating Sprint Championship, becoming the second man to win both all-around and sprint world championships over the course of his career. At the 2010 Winter Olympic Games in Vancouver, Davis would go down in the history for the 1,000-meter event. The last competitor to start, he had the benchmark of the 2 times produced by his 2 greatest opponents, who were in the first and second position at the start of the race. Shani would go on to beat both of them by 0.18 of a second, becoming the first man to win back-to-back 1,000-meter speed skating gold medals. It would actually be the only gold medal for speed skating from the United States at these games. In the 1,500 meter, Shani was again the last to take the ice. He would slip into second place, managing to bring home the silver medal. The African American speed skater left the games with both a gold and silver medal around his neck, winning them in the exact same events he had competed in the 2006 Winter Olympics. 5. Davis may have inspired the character Frozone in the Incredibles movie. It seems pretty obvious that the gold medalist is the inspiration behind the cartoon character Frozone, who appears in the beloved Disney Pixar movie The Incredibles. Frozone, who is voiced by famous actor Samuel L. Jackson, is an African American superhero who can manipulate water molecules in the air and freeze them, therefore allowing him to create, control, and skate on ice. As part of Frozone's backstory, he attempted to represent the U.S. in the Winter Olympics, but was rejected on account of his superpower, which would give him an unfair advantage during the competitions. From the way Frozone skates to the way he looks, Disney seems to have taken a lot from Davis's image and likeness to create the popular character. In 2004, when the movie was released, Davis wasn't quite the Winter Games superstar, but at the time, he had already made the Olympic short track team in Salt Lake City and was a world champion in speed skating. 6. Davis competed in his last Olympics at the Winter Games in 2018. At the 2014 Olympic Winter Games in Sochi, Russia, Davis, like the rest of the U.S. speed skating team, dramatically underperformed on the world stage. The United States speed skating team would depart from the Winter Olympics without a medal for the first time since the 1984 Sarajevo Games. The U.S. team was predicted to win at least 8 medals prior to the Games, but after multiple failings and some blame even shifting to the new racing suit from Under Armour, all 17 members of the team came home disappointed and empty-handed. Davis had a personal best finish of 8th place in the 1,000-meter race. Davis contemplated retirement due to a lack of success at the 2017 World Cup circuit, leading up to the 2018 Olympics. However, Davis, known for his consistency and technical proficiency, endured to make one more Olympic team in 2018 at the age of 35. The Winter Olympics was held in Pyeongchang, South Korea, and his best finish was a disappointing 7th in the 1,000-meter and failed to medal in the 1,500-meter events as well. Davis would exit quietly from the Games, as many questioned whether this would be the last time that he would compete ever again. 7. Davis became a lone wolf who was often overshadowed by controversies. Davis grew up in inner-city Chicago and became a big star, but he carried his trust issues with him into adulthood. His story is similar to many inner-city kids who embrace sports, but not common to Winter Olympic sports, where African Americans are not seen too often. Davis seemed to frequently separate himself from the U.S. speed skating apparatus and rarely engaged with the media. Off the ice, he declined most interview requests and had little desire to become rich and famous. He was always an individual who wasn't afraid to speak his mind, and it appears would go out of his way to keep a low profile. The 5-time African American Olympian stuck with skating growing up in Chicago, even as kids in his neighborhood teased him. In a sport that is overwhelmingly white, he had to always prove that he belonged in the sport and could compete with everyone else. Davis resorted to basically coaching himself, setting his own training schedule, and deciding what works best for him. He was often criticized for a strategy that produced phenomenal results. He stuck to his principles and avoided team competitions that could have potentially served as distractions on the path of his once-in-4-year goals. Davis's mistrust of the media and wary eye of his teammates, NBC announcers, media outlets, and U.S. sports officials dates as far back as his 2002 Olympic qualification. The euphoria of his victory and huge accomplishment was short-lived as rumors and false accusations floated that his teammates, Ono and Smith, conspired to allow Davis to win by not only underperforming, but also by blocking another racer. Ono, a good friend of Davis, and Smith had already earned a spot on the Olympic team, but Davis had to place first in the 1,000-meter race they all competed in. Ono was the heavy favorite, and a Davis win was considered a long shot. The claims were even heard in an arbitration case, but the three proved their innocence. But not without a cloud being cast over Davis's Olympic debut and a long-term estrangement with U.S. speed skating. The media and his colleagues often denounced Davis as a poor teammate, unpatriotic, and selfish for not participating in team competitions that he neither signed up for nor had an interest in. This put Davis in several positions, having to defend himself and make up excuses for not skating in events he was never eligible to skate in the first place, while U.S. speed skating remained silent. This led Davis to once ask U.S. speed skating to keep his biography off its website and out of its media guide. He also hired a Dutch agent, but secured no apparent representation in the United States, which may have been a major reason why he never truly cashed in on his Olympic success and legend. The ultimate diss came ahead of the 2018 Olympics. The 8 U.S. Winter Sports Federations voted in a tie for Davis and teammate Aaron Hamlin to be the flag bearer at the opening ceremony. The rules for a tie reduced the selection to a flip of a coin. Hamlin won the toss and held the honors. This was considered a disgrace and a slap in the face to the African American legend, who has been one of the more significant Winter Olympians the United States has ever produced. Davis and many others in U.S. speed skating believe that he should have been a no-brainer selection. He was the most decorated U.S. Olympian in the entire Winter Games that year. He held a total of 4 Olympic medals, 2 of them gold. He was the current record holder of the 1,000-meter. He was the Shani Davis, who was quite possibly skating in his final Olympics. But it wasn't enough for his fellow athletes to choose him to become the first Black U.S. flag bearer in the Winter Olympics history. Imagine being as accomplished as he was and not being duly honored in the twilight of your skating career. Out of an accumulation of frustration, disappointment, disloyalty, and anger, Davis skipped the opening ceremony and took to Twitter to criticize the United States Olympic Committee's choice of Hamlin as the honorable flag bearer for the opening ceremony. 8. Davis was a very popular figure in the Netherlands. The people of the Netherlands love Shani Davis. Speed skating is dominated by the Dutch, those anthropomorphic snowmen for whom the sport is a national obsession. Of the 96 medals that the Netherlands have won since the Winter Olympics began, 92 have come in speed skating. The country's top speed skaters are considered national heroes. And despite the plethora of homegrown stars, the Dutch had a special place in their hearts for Shani Davis, the misunderstood American skater who was both a genius and legend on ice skates. Davis would appear regularly on the covers of Dutch skating magazines. He also earned sponsorship and endorsement deals from Dutch loan providers and cell phone companies. He was even the subject of a nationally broadcast 60-minute documentary about his life. Davis, who visited the Netherlands regularly, and his mom would often show up to her son's skating events wearing the Netherlands' national color of orange. There is only one reason why the Dutch would come to love Shani Davis so much. They felt that he was a beautiful skater. As opposed to many of his fellow American Olympians, who come from inline skating backgrounds and have adapted their techniques to the ice, Davis was a speed skating native, a rink rat since the age of 6. He refined his beautiful fluid style for 25 years, and the Dutch knew what to look for in a skilled skater and could recognize his skating qualities, his incredible technique, and his beautiful corners. Their speed skating fans didn't just love Davis because he won a lot of races. They adored the way that he won with supernatural style and unparalleled grace. He was immensely popular in the speed skating hotbed of the Netherlands and seems to relish the attention he received from the orange-clad Dutch fans. Davis is never the odd man out in a country which has long preferred individualism over servile team spirit. Americans may have seen a guy that's sometimes difficult to understand, but the Dutch saw in Davis someone who does not live by the rules, takes care of themselves, and can become successful all on their own. 9. Davis retired from competitive skating in 2019. In November 2019, Davis decided to hang his skates up for good and announced his retirement. Davis felt that he had a long and accomplished career and that there were other things he wanted to do with his life. He started coaching Chinese junior skaters before the Beijing Winter Games, becoming the latest notable name that began guiding Chinese athletes ahead of the Beijing Games. Davis also inspired the creation of DC Inner-City Excellence, also known as DC Ice, in Washington, D.C. Invited by one of his former youth coaches, Coach Nat, and 2 families living near the local rink, the Fort DuPont Ice Arena, Shani graciously visited and sparked into existence a novel Learn to Speed Skate program that has since served hundreds of young people in Washington, D.C. Shani proudly served as the honorary chairman of DC Ice and continues to inspire youth of all backgrounds in their daily pursuit of personal and skating excellence. 10. Davis has been a great inspiration and influence to the next generation. Davis is a 5-time Olympian who actually competed in 4 different Olympics: 2006, 2010, 2014, and 2018. He is a 4-time 1,000-meter world champion, a 3-time 1,500-meter world champion, the 2009 world sprint champion, and a 2-time world all-around champion. He has broken 7 world records, won 6 world single-distance championships titles, and he led the United States to its first and only world championship gold medal in the team pursuit event in 2011. He has won 10 career overall World Cup titles, 94 World Cup medals, and 58 career individual victories on the ISU Speed Skating World Cup circuit. Not to mention, Shani set the world record for the 1,000 meters that stood for 10 years, which is an eternity in a sport like speed skating. His abilities gave young kids tuning into the Olympics a role model they'd never had until Davis. To grasp his influence on the generation of athletes making their mark now at the Games, one needs only to comb through the official athlete biographies, which give competitors a chance to list their personal heroes. Davis has been consistently named by the likes of Mame Benny and Erin Jackson, who became the first African American women to qualify for Team USA in short track and long track speed skating in 2017. In a sport that has struggled with diversity in the United States, Davis has found himself as someone to whom many can relate, someone to emulate. Through it all, like him or not, he's been his own man, refusing to toe the line, except at the start of his races. That's the stuff of legends. Shani Davis is a groundbreaking name that will live on forever in the world of U.S. speed skating. There is much to be admired about the way he stuck to his principles and rose to the top of his sport his way.
We appreciate the fact that you stayed with us until the end. Thank you for spending time with us, and don't forget to like this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so that you never miss a video. Bye for now. We will see you tomorrow.